This podcast, bussin'.
Welcome to another episode of this.podcast. I'm your friendly host Jay, joined by my friends. We got Co here.
Man, what we talking about?
And we got Uncle Damo.
Hi, my name is Uncle Damo.
I only hit it twice. Is that cool? And then we got a special guest here. The Same Cloth Band, which consists of two people, Solomon Chapman and Jocelyn, aka JoFoKe. Welcome to the show. This is our second take, so we're gonna run it back. But how is everybody's week going? How's everything doing? Do you remember what you said last time?
Yeah, I remember.
But I would love to give an intro to like this podcast, like where the people can find us, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So you can find this.podcast on IG at this.podcast, on Twitter at thispodofficial, on YouTube at this.podcast, and on SoundCloud at this.podcast. Go out there, support friends, family, everything. Like, subscribe, do it all. We're trying to make this thing big, and in order to do that, we bring dope people on the show, such as the Same Cloth Band. That's why they are here today. So let's give them a nice round of applause. Absolutely. I love how y'all know how this goes and y'all can play into it. Y'all are making the show right now. So
again, and on top of that, let's run it back in terms of their chemistry, man.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Little brother, big sister vibes going on right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was the over under on how long y'all knew each other. Yeah. I said
Damo
6 months.
And then you said 18 months.
No, I said 18 months.
You started at 18 months and we were like, nah, that's too.
I was like 10 years.
And I was like,
nah.
It's a Goldilocks and the three bears.
I think he was
yeah, there you go.
The third answer was spot
Sauce,
on.
what did you say?
Honestly, I didn't say anything.
He didn't say
anything.
I was just kind of letting the
vibe go.
The vibe go, man, because I knew you knew.
And then Damo guessed what?
3.5 years, and I had no idea.
Hey, man, you have that.
And that was
So
spot
right.
on. Yes.
Spot
And
on.
I got them spidey senses.
y'all
To
met
the T.
at a disaster wedding. Right?
All
Is
right.
that how we described it?
So our first encounter was like at a rehearsal for a wedding, a corporate, band situation. And I somehow got her number from a source she probably didn't.
Stalker.
Yeah. I needed some dope vocalists on this gig. And I hope that we can talk about the disaster of this.
Yeah.
So before, like, what does a corporate wedding even mean?
Okay,
Oh,
yeah, because
yeah.
a lot of people don't know that there are bands that are out here.
Hey, sugar, 1, 2. That's what I envision.
All right.
Where did you come up with that?
I don't know.
Where did you come
I
up with
just
that?
visualize some
don't have a
corporate
clue.
wedding, and they hire some lame people, and then that's how it ends up being a disaster.
Oh, nah,
We're like,
nah,
whatever.
So no, like corporate bands, period, are stacked with some of the most amazing musicians in that area, and
Okay.
so this is nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
We do these things to make ends meet.
Sure.
So between our passion projects and things where we're the artist, we're singing at people's weddings. We're singing at
top
their
40.
right,
Yeah.
top 40 or whatever that family requests. So much to my chagrin, this is how we do it is in my.
So are you doing a lot of prep for that? So like the cover, like of what they want to play, is it like, okay, give us that
Yes,
a
and
month
no.
ahead of time, and
Well,
then
yes,
let's go.
when they book it.
Yeah.
With whatever company they book, they provide the type of music that they want. And so a lot of the times, like this in this instance, we're typecast.
Mhm.
So if they want a lot of Motown, they're gonna look to who they have on their list in the box state, who can do that, who can deliver
Got it.
that.
Got it.
Wow.
And-
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be black
Yeah.
people, or it's gonna be it's going to be somebody who
with
thinks
some,
that they can.
with a little bit of soul.
Yeah.
So I have
or
a qualifying
who thinks they
question.
have that.
In terms of the playlist, would bands would Make Her Dance be on the wedding playlist?
Yeah, I mean it depends on who it is, but like if they request No Diggity, they want No Diggity with Queen Pen and everything. They want it from start
Wow.
to
So you got to learn how to
finish.
rap too. You gotta
Yeah.
rap too. So who's rapping out the group?
That's Kim Dawson.
Got it.
Y'all know Kim?
I do not know
Yeah,
Kim.
Kim Dawson. That's
Okay.
that's another
Look her
good
up,
friend.
man.
But
Yeah.
you all are just covering the whole gamut. So like No Diggity to Aretha Franklin
Yep.
song,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Michael
Rock-
Jackson.
Cher, the
Yep.
Doobie Brothers,
Cher,
Amy
Journey?
Winehouse. Yeah,
because I feel like Journey comes up a lot
What about
I
Hall
sing
and
a
Oates?
lot of
Yeah.
at
Yes.
white weddings. Me and my friend got a
Yes.
thing going on. When you hear Journey and Sweet Caroline,
Yeah.
that's the
Oh my
song. Like
gosh.
that, they lose
it.
it.
Tears the house.
That's
My
their
right-
swag surf.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
We're halfway
They-
there.
ba, ba, ba. Yeah, living on a prayer. Do
Yeah.
that one as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Living on a prayer.
Or
Great
Making My
songs,
Way
though. Great
Downtown.
songs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Making my way downtown.
See, okay, I've never actually played that for a
Y'all
wedding.
have to do it.
Okay,
But I love that. That's one of my favorite songs, y'all. Hands down.
really,
Yeah.
Y'all gotta do that.
it's a
Raheem's
good song.
wedding.
I'm not gonna front. It's a good song.
I love that.
It's
And
catchy.
there's a story behind it.
Give us
too.
a sample
Okay.
when you're done telling your story.
Okay. That was my sample. Okay, so got Armand laughing at me.
That wasn't White Chicks, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was it? Okay.
yeah. Now,
I always think of that.
when
now.
I was first learning how to play piano, everybody in my crib was a musician at the time, except for my dad.
Okay.
Now he's learning trumpet, so he's a musician. He's in there. So we would like drive in his car all the time, and he would have Cozy 101.1
got it.
on, and that song came on all the time. And even though he wasn't like super musical in terms of saying, "Oh, you ought to practice your scales and your technique and stuff," he knew that if you could play that song, you could play piano.
There you go.
Wow.
So for me, I was like trying to make that happen. So that was like symbolic for me. Like my dad knew that I was a serious musician.
That's
so I could play
fascinating
that.
because when you talk about that, like I think I'm musically inclined, but as you talk about the science of it and breaking it down of
Yeah.
like you're listening to different genres, etc.
Yeah.
And you're looking beyond the lyrics and you're looking at composition when
Yeah.
things come in. Like what gravitated you towards that to look beyond the music and look deeper?
Oh man. This is gonna not sound deep, but it like if it hits you, it hits you. And that piano line was just iconic. I think if you admit to yourself that you love music, you have to admit to yourself that that song is dope because that line is just classic. Whether you like the song or like, oh my gosh.
Man.
It's like, and you think of Terry Crews
You do.
and White
You do.
Chicks. As soon as
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like,
It's
for
imprinted
some-
now.
it's
Like
imprinted.
I can't think of anything else when I hear that song.
Yeah.
Except White Chicks.
So like if it hits you, you pursue it and you reverse engineer later, like as to why you liked it and why it hit you.
Got
and
it.
how it, resonated with the way your brain thinks. But if it starts with a feeling. It starts with like, do you like it? Are you feeling it? And if you do like it, connect with it to the best of your ability.
Man, in the heat of COVID, man, I had an opportunity to kind of totally nerd out on music.
Yeah.
I'm not musically inclined at all. But I read it. I just happened to get on D Nice's page.
Yeah.
And he had a white guy on there. I do not know who this guy was, but I think he was a producer. And he literally built Prince's song. What's that joint?
Diamond and Pearls.
Not Purple Rain.
Let's go, dude. Like the
Oh
party-
yeah, the fast one.
the fast one.
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah,
yes,
that right
yes,
there.
yes.
That right there.
Boom,
And
dun, dun,
he built the song from step by step, each instrument. I sat there and watched this shit for 3 hours.
Wow.
And he literally took a chunk. And when you actually see what they put, Prince, what he put into a song, like, and he separated everything out, and he would play it, and it'd literally be like a cymbal, a cowbell. Then he'd bring in it gave me a whole new.
Even though you don't do music like that. It's
Yeah.
But you watched it. It was almost like a painter painting a picture. It It was dope. It was
Like
dope.
watching
Nice.
Bob Ross in his element. Just
Exactly.
like-
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that Courtney talked about was like inspiration, right? Both of you all got inspiration from somewhere. I'm not going to lead to the witness, but I would love to know like where your deep inspiration from music came from.
For playing it or creating it.
Both. Jay, let's start with you.
Okay. I am from a very musical family. I am fourth generation professional musician on both sides.
Oh wow.
And
Come on, pedigree.
She throwing it out there, huh?
There's some athletes in her family too. Don't
There
downplay
are.
that. Don't
who
try to
are
act
also
like
musicians.
Yes,
Yeah,
don't
but
try
we're
to
gonna
act like
focus
they're
on the
not athletic.
musicians right now.
I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all had to be athletic and musical. Everyone had to play an instrument.
So what did you pick up early in your childhood?
Piano and voice.
Got it.
Yeah. And I was just more passionate about voice. And so I studied piano all the way through college and ended up dropping the piano half of the music major because I was doing that for someone else. I was doing it for my dad. And he was like, don't do it for me if you don't like it. do what you
love.
Do what you're passionate about. And voice has always been that. And things always just sort of worked out that way for me. I went to Denver School of the Arts when it was brand new, when we were at Cole, you know, when it was just a whole bunch of Eastsiders in,
Right.
you know.
It was the 5 points back then, right?
It was an experiment with little kids who were ditching school to go to Tasha's Hacienda around the
Damn, that
corner.
place was good.
Wasn't it the bomb?
It was.
But yeah, I when I first auditioned, I auditioned to be a piano major, made it as a piano major, and my private piano instructor was like, yeah, it's me or them. And so I had to switch over to voice and really fell in love with the science of vocal technique.
That's awesome.
And knowing how my instrument worked and how to manipulate it in different ways.
But your instrument is your voice.
Yes.
Voice,
Just want to make sure I
That's what I
clarify
pulled in. Yeah, that's
yes,
dope.
Yes. And then when I got to college, the athleticism of it really
wow.
That's
like
a dope term.
we were up every morning at 8 jogging around the track singing as a part of our warm-ups.
Whoa.
It was a part of the pedagogy.
I can't even talk when I'm running.
That's what I mean. Like
Freshman year was a lot.
Yeah.
But
I'm like, all right, breathe
Jay,
through my
didn't you go
nose,
to an
out through my
HBCU?
mouth.
I did go
My
to
fault.
an HBCU,
My
the
fault.
best one this side of
What is
heaven.
that?
Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, where I was blessed to be a Fisk Jubilee singer. And I'll actually be back in Nashville in a few weeks to celebrate our 150th anniversary of the Jubilee Singers.
Nice.
Nice. So talk a little bit, real quick.
No, Solomon, he was about to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and JoFoKe.
Oh man, I want to cut her off. She was
No, that was good.
I don't
Yeah.
know
So what
else
is
I
your
was thinking.
Solomon? What's your inspiration?
for music. For doing
Yeah.
it. Just the idea of making something that is my own. That's been my inspiration like these days. I am obsessed with the idea of creativity and the fact that like, wow, something that lives in my mind and isn't tangible, you can't touch it yet. I have to find a way to manifest that, to realize that, and then make it to where other people can consume it and digest it. Like that to me is just crazy, you know, and to live in a country where like that can be a whole career and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, just that privilege is my inspiration right now. The fact that I can like make a reality for myself
That's dope.
based on
That is.
something that comes from my mind.
Absolutely.
And it happens to be sonic creations right now. I hope that, you know, over the course of my life that it'll expand to other disciplines and fields, but like I'm all in with music right now. So
Right.
that's my
Nice.
inspiration.
No, that's cool, man. So speaking of that, like both of you, Denver natives, graduated from Overland Solomon, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
So, and then
OHS Blazers.
JoFoKe,
Blazers.
you were a graduate of
Denver East High
high
School.
school.
Right up the street.
Down the
Angels
street.
in the house. Yeah, so talk a little bit about that, because I think, you know, at the high school level, I think that's when you kind of, for musicians anyway, like you kind of decide that you're going to go into the arts, right?
That's real.
And then
Yeah.
from there, it's like, explain that experience, because for us as athletes, I would say, and I'm just speaking for myself, we didn't see the musicians that much. Like at public schools, like music wasn't a thing, right? Like you would have to go to the arts, Denver School of Arts, or if there was music, well, at Montbello, I think it was a little different, but you just didn't mingle a lot, and there wasn't a lot of opportunities. So at East, being there, you said you went to the arts, but like for the both of you, how did you find that? Was it just all outside of high school, and were you able to interact, you know, with the other kids, like as far as when you decided to go that route?
Oh, I was always surrounded by athletes and the arts, and I was on pep squad. My mom would not let me go any further with that, because once you're a cheerleader, then you're yelling and your voice is your instrument. And I was so mad at her. I hated her for it. But she was right.
Yeah.
You know, she was
Got
right. But yeah, all of my friends still, you know, pursued their those that were athletes, their high school athletic careers and what have you. I mean, we were all
Just went down that
intermingled.
path.
Yeah, and I was like the resident Star Spangled Banner singer for the basketball team, and we were taking state by that time. We had taken it from George.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we I think high school was pretty normal for me. Like looking at shows like Glee or all those teen movies where the artists are the outcast or the nerds that are brushed aside. Not so much.
Didn't have that feeling at all.
Nah, I mean, I know that I was a total hermit. You know, looking back, it's like, oh yeah, you were just all
So
about the music.
you were an outcast.
But I wasn't, you know, and I think I actually was more popular than I thought then. You know, now people are like, yeah, you remember when?
Like,
Because who doesn't
Really?
like gifted people though? Like you
that's
know,
what
like
I mean.
people with gifts. Like people are drawn to people with gifts
For sure.
But there was also a isn't there like wasn't there like a choir like that people would like kind of try out for, and this was kind of like an elite thing like within the state in the high
Thank
school
you for
arena
bringing that up.
that kind of propelled. And the only reason I know this is because my wife is a singer.
Yes,
You know what
she
I mean?
is.
Wow.
Yes,
And
she is. She is a singer.
Yeah, she's a singer.
So
like,
I didn't know about that sauce. Like I didn't know there was a choir at the high school level.
Yes.
I didn't know either, but that was like kind of.
And there was
the
who's
shit.
who. There was
Yeah.
who's who for musicians, high school musicians, and all of that. I don't know if that's still going on, but yeah, all state choir. And at that point, it was. I don't know if it's still where only your junior and senior year you can audition, but I did both junior and senior year, and then I was the a little black history.
Oh, okay. Okay,
The
let's
first
go.
black woman of all state jazz ensemble or choir.
Oh, nice.
Because it was the first year. Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
And that year there were 16 singers, and East had four of the singers to make it into that group. But yeah, it was a different time. We had, I think my class was the last class in DPS to receive music all the way through elementary school. And you know, you can sort of hear the change in music now, you know, band and choral. There's definitely been a shift since monies have been diverted.
involved.
Yeah. So at what point did you find your voice? Like at what point did you say, "Shit, I can sing"?
No, I can sing.
Like because like we all have that epitome whenever we find our gift where we're just like, You know, just that one. It could be that one game. It could be that one set. You know what I mean? Where you're just fucking banging them kids. You're just like, damn.
Like, I'm killing
Solomon,
it.
when was yours?
Yeah, I'm killing that shit. Let's start with Jocelyn though. Let's start with Jocelyn and double back.
I I really don't know. I think it was adulthood where I really started to believe in myself, in my voice. I spend a lot of time, and I'm grateful for it. It's still my bread and butter, but in the background and singing background for so many people. Again, it's still my bread and butter. If you're watching this, please still hit me up. But it wasn't until I would say the last 10 or 15 years when I started saying, you know, you have some sauce.
You're like, I'm pretty good at this thing.
Yeah, you can do this. And like sort of piggybacking on what Saul said earlier about his passion in creating something. I've always been a songwriter. Like I started writing stuff and, you know, I always thought it was like a joke that my family would start singing my songs.
Wow.
But like it's for real.
Like you're a true creator.
Right. And I knew that I didn't want to just be singing other people's music. Like that's great.
Yeah.
But I also, I want what I envision to become reality. So like the concept of a chair, this chair that you're sitting in, it started out as an idea, right?
Yep.
I want everything that I do musically to become that chair. So if it's the story that I'm telling in that song, I want it to be as apparent as the chair that's holding you.
Nice.
If it's, you know, the song that I'm writing, if it resonates with you, I want that resonation. Resonance. There it is.
It's resonance. Yeah.
Resonance. I shouldn't have dropped that English.
Hey, it's all good.
No, it's all good.
Hey, you know what's crazy,
We got
Jay?
it out.
It's like how what JoFoKe was talking about ties into like what you do into putting ideas into like reality. Like from like engineering,
Absolutely.
and software engineering.
I appreciate that, man.
No, really, it ties in.
Yeah.
100%.
What about you for Solomon? Like, what's that experience like?
I think all of my childhood up until like senior year of high school was sort of affirming like you're going to be a musician, because I just grew up in a loving home. My parents were very supportive. They paid for like 8.5 years of piano lessons, and Overland wasn't like the most musical school in the school district, but it had like great people in it. And Daryl LaGuardia, the band director, he was super supportive. He did a lot for me and for some classmates of mine. Like it was just a beautiful, affirming community, both in school, at home, and then I did primarily like church, you know, playing in church and everything. And so
so you constantly had that reinforcement.
That reinforcement, like, yo, Solomon, keep going. We see what you're doing. Even if I didn't always succeed, I got kicked off a lot of times. I failed a lot of times. But for as many times as I failed, I also had a lot of positive moments that were like, yo, Solomon, you keep going. You the stuff. It wasn't until, freshman year of college when I was taking lessons, classical lessons from 9 to 18. But then I met this lady who was big on like technique, and she was introducing this idea to me of like playing the piano with your whole body, not just your fingers, right?
I like that.
It's like with expression.
Not just expression, because my former teacher was all about passion and expression. Whatever piece you play, make sure you just feel and emote and emote. But like this lady, like she was a literal orchestra. If you wanted flute, she could play flute on an acoustic piano. Somehow she could embody whatever instrument in the orchestra because she had learned that. I don't know. She was able to like do whatever she needed to do with her body and with the weight of her arm and stuff like that. So it was just this whole sort of just like shock for me, culture shock for me.
So question about that, because I put my kids into music also. So they're learning violin right now, and they're doing this.
How old are your kids?
They're 11, 9, and 8.
Okay. All three of them
all three of them in violin, and they are doing the Suzuki method.
Yes, sir.
So when you talk about the technique, so that's interesting. Did you learn the Suzuki method? Is that how you came up?
That's like real contemporary, like new, right?
Nah, Suzuki's been around for a while.
Like,
my bad.
Since late 1800s, I think.
Oh, yeah, I'm way off.
Suzuki, he was around that time. I don't know if he's Japanese or...
He is Japanese.
He is Japanese. Okay, so, yeah.
But I guess before you go, my whole point was that technique you're talking about, like being efficient, using your body, being in tune with your body and using it the right way to get the sound and feel that sound. It just reminds me of that. So that's cool to hear you say that.
Oh my gosh.
That's dope,
like Jay. No offense to my upbringing at all, but man, I kind of wish I was under that Suzuki method. Cause like, especially as like a black musician, a lot of my training came in church and there was no sheet music.
Right.
It was like, you got to figure it out. The choir director at 9 years old was like, my mom was the choir director. Hear the songs, figure it out. And from doing that for weeks and months and then years, you start to connect a lot of dots and you develop a strong ear to where most things that you hear from a pop and R&B standpoint and gospel standpoint, you hear it and you can play it. Suzuki actually offers like that same training, but with the classical side.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And it's real, to your point, it's stringent and it's very family oriented.
Oh, man.
So it's not only the kids are learning it. No, we want the parents.
So you play
there.
violin now?
I don't play.
Yeah.
But they're big on like you be there for support, understand the music sheet, the notes and things like that. I tried to play piano for a second and I'll share a story. It's funny, but we'll do that later.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's like it's very supportive. No, parents are practicing along, or at least watching the kids practice, and it's real structured, and it's like you're doing the same ensemble. It's not really notes, but like a piece.
Yeah.
You're doing that for like months.
Yeah.
You are sick of
go.
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They call it a Mississippi Stop.
Mississippi hot dog.
So does a ukulele qualify?
Is that what you got?
No, that's what my kids do.
No, I would think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but-
Absolutely.
And they learned it on their own,
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's-
man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
You should get them some lessons or something.
probably.
and that's the thing. I think everything in life, like we want to become one with it, right?
Right.
Like so when James talking about with the Suzuki method, like when you're talking about, hey, when I play the piano, I want to become like, I want to be the piano, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I think a real simple version of that is when we, like, for example, have you ever driven somewhere and you got there, but you really didn't know how you got there?
Oh, yeah.
Because you are literally one with your vehicle. Like you're everything is just, I know when to stop, I know when to brake, I know when to speed up, I know where to turn, and then it's like, shit, I'm here. Like
It's second nature at this point.
it's second nature. So whenever you become one with something, it's just that certain synergy. So that goes with singing, playing an instrument, playing a sport. When you're one with that and your body's just reacting, that's when you're working at your most optimal level.
Yeah.
So I can tell that you guys are extremely passionate about music. And the funny thing about it, like some of the most passionate people I've ever met, because I've only gotten into this arena with musicians because of my wife. Whenever they just sit there and get to talking, and I'm just like,
Oh, I bet.
I don't know shit about music, so I'm just like, I'm really a spectator at this point. I have nothing to offer. They're like so fucking like
They
on
take
the
it to
same
the next
page.
level, right?
Yeah.
And to hear you guys' synergy, I can totally see why you guys are an awesome group.
So let's talk a little bit about your sound, because I heard the song Count and it's streaming on Spotify, and it is a awesome song.
Appreciate it.
And to me, as I analyze that, you definitely have that neo soul kind of Jill Scott, maybe Angie Stone kind of cut from that cloth. So I'm curious, like, how did you come about with your sound? Like, describe your sound and what you think it is when you say that idea. When you go back to that, like you're creating this chair or creating that idea and you want it to come to life. What does that sound for you?
Yikes. I feel like I'm a bit of a chameleon in that I've picked up a little bit from everything, from everything I was surrounded by. So, of course, coming up in school, the focus then more so was classical. I was told, this is real music.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother something, because white supremacy is a hell of a drug, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, that was that.
Got
So
it.
that was the real music. And then I grew up in the church. And of course, I wanted to be Kim McFarland, and, as a teenager, wanted to be Kim Burrell. And that informs who I am. I'm still a worship leader. And then my dad is a jazz musician. And I was always like, his rehearsals were in the house.
Mm-hmm.
There was a studio in our basement, and I would, demo songs and do things with him. And my uncle was an R&B, like classic soul R&B artist. And I think all of that informs my sound. I think you can get a little bit of all of that when I open my mouth. And in church, I was always, they would say they call out the other and say, "Oh, yeah, you're that jazzy girl. So yeah, you can do this song. It's it's kind of jazzy." Or
So you were a plug and play, like you could do it all.
yeah.
Renaissance woman
And
ass.
had to be. And I really, I used to feel, like I used to feel that was weird,
Okay.
and that was a bad thing, that I stood out in that way. But now I'm like
Embrace
super
it.
proud. Yeah, I'm super proud to be a multi-genre artist. But yeah, you're definitely going to get all of those roots.
What about you, Solomon?
My sound.
Yeah, your sound.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Right.
Which is fair.
It is.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing. It's a
Mhm.
journey. It really
Yeah.
is a journey.
Yeah, I think the best thing I can do is to strive and when I can verbally articulate what I'm going for, and then attempt it, and then those attempts are the sound.
Can I take you to a
Got
different
it.
place?
Yeah.
Talk to us about a time where you were in that element and you were like, "This is my sound."
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm so glad you asked this question, because it just I'm getting a little emotional.
Go.
And I'm only getting that way because I went to MSU Denver, and my degree is in music composition. I was in love with writing and stuff, so I wanted to learn how to do it in a classical sense. And I just recently, like a couple nights ago, like I couldn't fall asleep. So I decided I need some cool music to listen to. So I started listening to all this different type of stuff, thinking like something out here will put me to sleep and entertain me at the same time. It's weird. And I couldn't find it. So I go to a playlist of my music, and I happened to find this classical recording. It was like a string quartet, a pianist, and a vocalist. I hit play, and I was like, oh my gosh. I would actually listen to this. I wrote this, but I would actually, whatever this is, I got to reverse engineer that.
Yeah.
Cause I
Nice.
did it, and then something in me was like, I'm not worthy to pursue my thing and to investigate my sound until I absorb all these other influences, because
Got
they're the goats. They're the people doing it,
Yeah.
and I want to get to their level. So the only thing that'll validate me is to go outside, look externally.
How did it make you feel when you tapped into that moment?
I was humbled and disappointed at the same time. Like humbled, like, man, this came out of me, and all of my life experience that led to me creating that. I'm grateful for that.
Right.
But I just, like, if I believed in myself the way Ice JJ Fish believed in himself,
Oh, that boy brought out Ice JJ.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who would I be? What would my reality look like?
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was a wake up call. Like, I don't have all the answers. I may not be able to articulate even what my sound is, but all I know is that there's something in here that is worth investigating and worth developing.
So you had a saboteur like on your shoulder telling you weren't good enough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's prevalent.
That's crazy.
The
Still fight
imposter
that.
syndrome
Yeah.
is
real.
Is really real.
You know, it's funny, y'all, when I hear y'all talk, because that's how I kind of feel about this podcast. And you guys have been in your craft for years, and we're just starting this adventure. And the way you describe this, Solomon, is when you go look at yourself, because it starts from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You see somebody do it. I've seen numerous podcasts, and the first thing that's imprinted in your mind is, oh, I want to do it like that.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, that's what I want to do. I want to be just like that. And it's like, as you're going through that, you start to realize, well, nah, you can't be that. You know what I mean? That's good inspiration.
Yes.
You get ideas, but you can't do that. That's been done. And it's like, all right, find your footing. What does that look like? And then I'll go back and look at the tape. I'll listen to myself, you know, just all the things. You're your worst critic.
Yeah.
And you start to formulate like what your voice is, you know, where you fit, your personality, whatever that is, how you carry your show, etc.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to hear y'all talk about that, because that's where I want to get with this. It's like,
and
it's like, I want to find that what y'all have found. Like, I want to get to that point that resonates.
Exactly.
And then like, oh, that's it. Like,
And it emotes.
this is where I fit.
But Jocelyn said it best. But Jocelyn said it best in terms of finding your authentic self.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you said, James, like James is saying, dude, I'm not that. Like, I could
Right.
draw inspiration from that, but I need to exude my authentic self through this. And then that's creating, right? Because creating comes from you, right? And it gets no more authentic than that. Like, so Jonathan could say, yeah, I was inspired by a whole bunch of people. You know what I mean? Solomon could say, yeah, I was inspired by a whole lot of musicians.
Yeah.
But I found that one moment, right? Either when you were performing, Jocelyn, and while you were playing, where you said, that's me.
Yeah.
And I'm humble enough to say, yeah, I've been inspired by all these other people, but that right there, that's my shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
So,
it.
you have people that fan out, like fanboys and
Let me
fangirls.
find out Solomon got some panties on the stage.
Yay. So,
Ooh.
hey, Solomon crossed his leg quick.
Hey, I know your wife.
Right.
So, somebody that
I had to see him sweat.
I know
man.
two people that super fan out over the same cloth band, and they're like it's like a road show to wherever they are.
Who's in Johnson's DM?
They could be in like Cheyenne, Wyoming, and they would be there.
Right.
And it's my mom and my sister.
Oh man. Real
So,
talk.
talk about the people that have been there from like day one, that have supported you and helped you keep that motivation and build the identity of what you want to create.
Oh no, that was
No, that's you.
Okay.
No,
I'll start. And then I'll lift the volleyball and you can spike it there.
Okay.
All right.
Lift and spike.
Yeah, lift and
You saw
spike.
that? That technique.
right.
And the spike better end with us seeing them DMs.
Yo, that's a whole other.
Yeah. No, you don't want to see my DMs.
All right, sorry.
You touching them.
But to answer that question, the people that, for me, I found that my peers, my colleagues, my closest friends who do what I do have been like some of the greatest supporters and also just like inspirations to keep going. Because when they win by believing in what they're doing and creating a reality for themselves and being supportive of us and encouraging us, like, yo, whatever I'm doing, you can do too. Like, for me, that's been the inspiration.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my parents, moving back to Denver from Tennessee has been interesting. I've been back 9 years last month, and it was kind of culture shock because Nashville's the music city.
Right.
Everybody is doing something musically, and it's just a different culture. But since being home, my parents pull up to everything, any and everything, and it brings me so much joy. And someone asked my dad last time, just jokingly, like, haha, so you're on the door. He was like, absolutely not. She better not put us on the door, because they believe in buying tickets for every single show. And it really, it's just the small stuff like that. And like all my family, all of our families will buy tickets.
And my mama.
Yes.
And my sister.
And will buy tickets. And I mean, if anybody should be on the door, listen, my parents should.
Yeah.
But they
believe in you.
They believe so much, and we're not just starting out, we've been in this thing, but for them to still believe like they do, and not only buy tickets, but say, hey, show me how to work my Facebook so I can
show me how to work my Facebook.
Right.
Do you mind if I just take one last thing?
No.
Like in this moment, I think it was like your birthday bash. Matt kicked it off. Who's dope and who was on the show. That's a whole nother story how y'all got connected. But at the show, you gave your dad like crazy praise. I teared up.
Oh wow!
Like, what's the like the connection between you and your dad?
Well, my dad is, to me, he is the most underrated musician that I've ever encountered. Mm-hmm. He helped build a lot of careers. He and it really is his wisdom that ultimately I started hearing, and saying, hey, make sure you do stuff for yourself. Make sure you're not just building everybody else's career. While you're doing that, stack your own stuff. And because he didn't get a chance to cut albums, things weren't as easy as they are now.
For sure.
You can cut and release on your own, and do everything from your bedroom. But this dude had a studio. He had all of this, and played for and with everybody from Freddie Hubbard to Kenny Loggins, and he was all over the place. Wow. Ike Turner, Tina Turner, and there's not so much to show for, his career, and so
not a lot documented.
Right, not a lot documented, but they're not publicly documented. Right. But when I tell you there are binders on binders and on binders of music.
That's awesome.
And one song that he wrote for me the day I was born, he gave to me when I was 13. He said, you go ahead and finish the song. And I think this is when, because I think it was the last time we did it live was at my birthday show. And he was overwhelmed to hear it that night because he hadn't heard it like that. Wow. And I really, really, really wanted to give him that gift, but also share it with that audience that, this is a gift that he gave me before even really knowing my personality or anything. It was just love that he wrote this song.
Man, I'm starting to tear up just hearing this.
Yeah, because that
story. That is crazy.
But just hearing your dad's story, that is the ultimate gift.
That is.
To say like, look, man, my dad wrote a song for me, but
and he didn't even know me.
He didn't know me.
Like he didn't even know me, but he wrote this song for me, gave it to me. I know how dope of a musician my dad is, regardless if he's unsung or not. And he really doesn't have the material out there in the mainstream for people to know. But let me give this to him. Man, as a dad, especially like we all have girls now.
That's no better gift, right?
What better gift? Man. What better gift? Like, I've lived my life.
Absolutely.
I've heard my baby sing a song that I wrote for her, and she has an angelic voice.
That's
an awesome gift.
As a dad, what
else can you do?
What else can you do?
And I actually wrote it from his voice. Well, I finished it. I did the, so I wrote the melody and the lyrics. And I turned it into sort of like a lullaby, but but really hopes and dreams for me and all my siblings, you know, in his voice. And
Starting to tear up. Stop it.
Okay, I'm
Stop
gonna
it.
stop. I'm gonna stop.
Stop it.
I
Stop
guess
it.
we should release
Emoting.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Emoting.
We should
No,
release
no,
it.
no.
So-
let's shift to DMs then.
No, we're gonna skip past that. We're not gonna get you in trouble.
We're gonna hop over
We're
there.
gonna
Listen,
jump right
I'll
over
tell you,
that topic.
them they ain't worth it. They
What
ain't
them
worth
vocal
it.
cords like, girl?
So real quick before I have another malfunction, let's talk about the residency that you've booked at Dazzle. I think that's awesome because for us old heads, Dazzle back in the day,
Oh man, it's
it's iconic. It was a jazz
Yeah.
spot, and that's where we went for drinks and
Yes, all
enjoyed
the
live
martinis.
music
And
Absolutely.
nachos.
But the
And
game-
nachos. Absolutely.
I remember the game nights were cool too when they had all the table
Absolutely.
games.
So talk about that residency.
Solomon, go.
Oh gosh. All right. I'll just I'll start it off. Every last Saturday of the month. We are there 6 p.m., 9 p.m. making it happen. We've been having features the past few months, and this month is going to be us. Just all us just doing our thing, presenting
The headline, right?
headline,
there you
headline,
go.
just us making it happen. Not all original, right? There's still some covers, but mostly original music. Like our ideas, our creations coming to life, and we got some new music coming out.
Nice.
You know, to consume.
That's
stream,
so talk
buy,
about that.
and
Yeah, talk
stream.
about all that. So are you gonna put it all on all streaming platforms like Spotify?
all that.
Everywhere.
Okay.
But
Everywhere.
buy it.
Right,
Yeah.
buy it first.
And then buy it first, and then stream. Amen.
Tell people real quick
Like, what does
why
that
that's
mean?
so
Yeah.
important.
Okay, so with streaming, all right. In 2019, I had 3 songs streaming that I had written for other artists. And so 3 songs
Yes.
ended up yielding me 39 cents in royalties. That was all I made from those 3 songs.
Can you give us how many
Yeah,
streams?
give us perspective.
Yeah, I'll give you perspective. Pharrell Williams, Happy.
Okay.
Y'all remember how big Happy was?
Absolutely.
From streaming alone, Pharrell got $5,000.
Well,
Seriously? Wow.
So is there a difference? I'm sorry. Is there a difference between buying subscription? So like we subscribe and then stream. That's different than buying.
That is different than buying because when
Whoa.
you're paying your subscription, you're paying that fee for your subscription. We get 0.0000002 or something ludicrous.
So if we buy,
If
I
you
imagine if you buy like on Bandcamp or
On
platforms
Bandcamp,
like
you
that.
you can choose how much, and that all of that money goes directly to the artist.
Okay.
But there's still iTunes still exists. Apple Music makes it abundantly hard to get
To
to,
buy.
but you can, there's like fine print underneath each project where it says take me to the iTunes store. You
Yeah.
can buy it there. Amazon, and like when I dropped Count last year, big love. A lot of people were sending me screenshots of purchased.
Sure.
Because I mean now I would lose money if I were to
That's important.
have CDs
Absolutely.
made.
So
So people
So-
remember buy
Buy.
Amazon.com, Bandcamp.com, iTunes, SoundCloud. Can you buy on SoundCloud?
no.
Okay.
So can I push Jay? I want to push it on
No,
one thing.
I don't want you to push
Please.
at all, man. I don't.
What about
I don't want to
NFTs?
fumble. Oh,
NFT.
Like NFTs, like you sell your music as an NFT. Look, I think Lil Baby made $1 million in 1 minute selling his music on NFTs.
so the whole idea with the NFT is that it becomes like a collection piece at that point.
Okay.
So you make the album. The person that buys it, that you could bid for it, or you can have a set price, however you want to do it. But the idea is that they have the original copy
Right.
of the music. So you still own the license of it and all that, and you can still distribute it how you want.
Right.
But that first sale, they own it. So I know So you can think about it like with Wu-Tang,
Yeah.
you know, when RZA did the whole, that asshole bought it. I forget his name, but
Martin Shkreli.
yeah, he bought the original copy. For him, nobody else could listen to it. But with NFTs, somebody can buy that original and, you know, it can be auctioned off or you can set a set price and work it that way. So that is an option also.
And then that goes into royalties.
Right.
This is technology, Bitcoin, like cryptocurrencies, like that's what that goes into.
And I considered something like that some years ago when Esperanza Spalding did her 77 project, where she wrote and recorded a full album in 77 hours, start to finish. And
Oh, wow.
I
That's
actually,
talent.
yeah. And I actually am one of the owners of the she only released, I think, 777 copies, and I have one of those copies. And yeah, I don't regret it. It was great to behold and what have you, but I think it was $50. They started at $50, and then they had, you know, vinyl, and, you know, of course they monetized it to the max.
Got it.
I thought about doing something like that, but I think we'd have to have the demand, and
that's what you're trying to build up.
That's what you're
right,
Right,
right.
yeah.
We're
No,
trying
that's
to
what
build up
we're
that
trying to
popularity.
build up.
And that's what we're, yeah.
Right, we're all
absolutely.
trying to build up that popularity. I think Herbie Hancock, I think it was last week, did an interview talking about why jazz isn't mainstream, or why a lot of music isn't mainstream anymore, like tonal music.
Mhm.
And it's because it's all about the persona and the person's life, and, you know, all that entails. And I know majority of my artist friends aren't necessarily in this for the celebrity of it all. You know,
It's just the passion and
just
they
the
love
love.
it.
right. This is what I do. I want to be able to feed my family by doing my job.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I just want to and create my art. I want my chair to become a reality. And so that's where a lot of us sort of end up not popular, because we're not content creators. We're not constantly creating that content or bringing people in, and both of us are quite introverted, you know.
No, I definitely get what you're saying when you say
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Yeah, it's like we have a meet and greet today.
That's why I appreciate y'all coming on the show.
We have
we
a
really
meet and
do.
greet today. Oh my God!
Who set that up?
Who's gonna say hello first?
I got to go.
But
All right.
but it's funny. It's
Sauce,
just funny.
I'll let you get
it's
to the
funny-
last question.
It's funny you say you're an introvert. This guy I know had sent me a video about introverts, and he said that introverts simply just place their energy where they want it to be placed.
Yeah. Yeah, and it takes a lot
That's
to
strong.
recharge when you have to spend it on other things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
You gotta send me
Oh.
that. Wherever you, yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to share the story since you're a piano man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Jay grew up in sports all his life. That's all I did as far as, you know, my
He's talking about himself in third person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I caught that.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know.
Absolutely. Thanks, Damo. That's my ad lib over here. He's my guy.
I love it.
So yeah, I grew up sports heavy. That's all I thought about. Later in life, I was like, I want to get out of that, do new things, want to learn how to play an instrument. For me, it was the piano. Reason why I loved Beethoven,
Yeah.
and specifically Fur-Elise and Moonlight Sonata, right? So I can play like the first, however you want to say, before I get to the bridge. So like a first piece of that,
Yeah.
right? So I could get there.
The famous part.
Yeah. So anyway, learning how to play piano, enjoying it, having fun. Got a teacher. My teacher decides, now I'm 30,
Yeah.
decides, hey, you should do a recital. So me, I'm like, yeah, let's try new things. I don't care what it is. Let's do it, right? So I get some practice. I'm like, yeah, sign me up, right? So when I get to the recital, and it was off of Broadway somewhere down there, Nothing but kids. Of course, I'm the oldest person in there.
They set you up like that?
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
That
about
is
that.
wrong.
That is
my wife at the time.
She got all dogged
Yeah.
up.
My wife, hey, he said
got
my
all
wife at the
dolled up.
time.
I'm sorry, my girlfriend at the time, but it's now my wife.
She got all dolled up.
Dogged up, man. I had my khakis, a nice little collared shirt. I was proud. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Cumberbund.
None but 6-year-olds, and so I get up there.
Yeah, they wrong for that.
And I've only done like 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I get up there. I can't play the whole piece.
Yeah.
I start playing. I get to a point, and then I just hit one key and like, dong, and I'm good. And everybody knows I'm over. They clap and everything like that, right? Stay for the rest of the recital. Afterwards, meet and greet kind of thing.
Oh my God.
So this little kid, about 6 years old, comes up to me. He's like, yeah, you did all right. You did okay. So I'm like, I pay no mind because it's a little kid and he's with his parents. But then he goes up on stage
Oh no.
and kills my piece. So he kills the Fur Elise and kind of looks at me and he's like, yeah, man,
I bodied you.
This is how it really goes.
These are
And
the
their
brains.
parents looked at me and was like, yeah, he's been playing since he was 3. Don't pay him no mind.
Crying right there.
And I'm looking at him. I'm
Don't
like,
pay him no mind.
yo, do you want to take this outside?
Yeah.
Because that's where I shine. That's where I get down. Let's do this.
I do CrossFit and I will outlast you and beat your little ass.
So
that was a great
is-
story,
That's
man.
my piece.
Oh, that's an awesome story.
Yo,
man.
I'm crying.
Absolutely.
That was a
And
great
they thought they was
story.
putting you in front of a friendly crowd.
Wait, here. Let me plug something though. If you do want to resume your studies, I know a guy.
Solomon
knows-
hooked me up.
He is an
Hook me
amazing
up.
piano teacher. Real
He might
talk.
not want to start with me though. He might put me
Oh
on
my
like one of his apprentice.
Yeah.
Like deal with this guy.
We need those
He's-
two.
No,
I have
Pass.
a
This is
question
the
for you
man.
all. So if we were to invite somebody else dope in Colorado, who would you recommend?
Oh man.
Monique and Aaron Brooks Roberts.
Yep.
Money and Aaron.
Monique.
Monique. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Monique.
They were actually just our special guest last month at Dazzle, and yikes.
Go.
They're Monique is really, really a dope violinist, and I wasn't into the whole trend of like the soul fiddle kind of thing,
Soul
you know.
So you don't like
kinda.
Jeff Hughes? Ish?
Shout out to
It's-
Jeff.
Yeah, shout out to Jeff.
That's the homie. So that's
Yeah, so speak nice.
Yeah,
JoFoKe.
it's not that I'm not into him.
It's just not your thing.
It just was that it didn't hit me like it did
Got
until Monique.
Got it.
And her resume should really speak. She right before the shutdown, she was in an ensemble of all black women strings for Lizzo at the Grammys.
Oh wow.
She's often on Common stuff. Nate Smith, Derek Hodge. We did a thing together with Derek Hodge.
So we just need to
some
hit
months
her
ago.
up.
Hit her up.
Yeah, and then her
what was her name
husband,
again? Monique?
Brooks Roberts, and her husband Aaron, who is another something. Oh my
We
gosh.
appreciate it.
So Monique
They're
and Aaron,
ridiculous.
we're coming after you.
Yeah,
soon.
hit us up.
So that's the
Comment.
challenge.
You need to tag them so we can get in touch with them.
Will do.
Absolutely.
Will
And
do.
then last but not least, I want to make sure that you plug all your social platforms, anything else that you want to say right now so people can find you and support.
Where are we?
Same cloth band.
On everything.
On everything.
On
everything.
Facebook. On
IG,
yeah, on IG.
Twitter.
On
What about
YouTube.
MySpace?
Yeah, well, about that.
What's my
Damo is trying to bring MySpace back. He's
Listen.
trying to bring it back.
You can have that. I want to bring Black Planet back.
Same
Oh.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, well, let's wrap it up. You never stumble upon the unexpected if you only stick to the familiar. So go out there, change it up, do your passion, do dope things like the Same Cloth Band. And thank you for
Hey,
being on the
much
show.
respect.
Man, thank
Absolutely.
you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us.
this podcast, bussin'.